One of the fields in which we seem to be getting a little smarter, at least, is nutrition. We have discovered finally what we should have known always, but which we didn't need to know until we broke the rules. Namely, that nutrition is a very important factor in life, that it cannot be ignored, that the individual who wishes to have better health must concentrate his attention upon learning how to have better health. He must study the problems of nutrition in himself. He must discover his own mistakes due to appetites. He must discover why he cannot do just what he pleases and at the same time maintain bodily health. So here we'll come face to face with facts, and we're gradually beginning to face them with more or less conscious intelligence. Now, our mental life is also in constant need of nutritional education. What we take into the mind is a phase of our nutritional problem. If we take in the wrong thoughts, we're going to be just as bad off mentally and physically as we would be if we eat food that is improper to our needs. The individual can be allergic to attitudes, and everyone, more or less, is allergic to negative thinking. It will never help him, and it will almost certainly hurt him. Now, this doesn't mean he won't live through it. He may have negative thoughts all his life and pass the century mark, but he will simply have extended the period of disappointments, disillusionments, and disasters for himself. Therefore, with nutrition, a very factual thing, the individual has a mental life that needs to be disciplined and needs to be subject to the laws of mental nutrition. He breaks these laws every day in front of his television, or he breaks them every day in the various activities which he considers essential. He takes in a constant stream of bad food. He takes in food that is not only indigestible, but in many cases it is hopelessly poisonous. He does the same thing mentally and physically. If he takes in contaminated mental food, he is going to be sick. And most of the mental conditions of our society lead to a problem of contaminated thinking. Now, the person doesn't have to take this on. He can live in the midst of it, but he does not have to become contaminated. There's no law that says that it has been absolutely necessary, inevitable, or irrevocable that an individual has to become an alcoholic. There is no reason given by heaven or earth why an alcoholic has to drive a car under the influence of alcohol. These are things we do ourselves, and our worries are just as futile and useless as these other habits. We have no law that says we have to be frightened. We have no law that says that we have to have a world that does what we please it to do, or otherwise we will be miserable. There is no law that says we have to be happily married or have pleasant relatives or obedient children. These factors do not exist as inevitable necessities. Therefore, we cannot resent or reject the opposite when it comes along. But every one of these relationships has lessons. Everything has something to learn. We are not only indebted to our families for a great deal of valuable knowledge, but our children are indebted to us for inevitable truths. All these things are common necessities of life. We can reject them. We can allow prejudice and criticism and condemnation to destroy all of the integrities of relationships, but this is not because it is necessary. It is because we have chosen to do it that way. We have had our personal conceits rebuked in some way, and we can never forgive the person who did it. Our relatives do not do what we expect them to, therefore we won't speak to them again. It all lies in our own situation. none of the problems that face us in our personal lives can remain completely unchanged if we determine to change them.